and time for just one pack. And usually I open this, grab something and open, but today I'm going to grab this one. This is my pet deck, so let's go through that. So I removed the big box, just that small box. I emptied it because we want to see the content of that. So here's the thing. When I build a deck, I build what I got. Whatever I open is what I build with, and you can spot sort of the boxes over here. I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not going to open a really big ton of boxes. I do open a few boxes for for this channel actually. So what I build is with something I opened, and I know that Alpha Clash is on TCG Player, but TCG Player is predominantly a US thing, and I'm not in the US, obviously. So this is the contender: Death, Chaos Bringer. She has some abilities. Gonna return to her. For now, we're just gonna put her up there, and we're gonna talk about what else is going to happen. So in the ideal situation, I'll get 2 cards out in the clash zone. One is ideal, I get 3, but this is the first one. War Strikebringer. I couldn't tell you that for some reason. He needs clash cards to be engaged to make him bigger. That will become a theme. The other 2 copies of him, 4 copies of Death, Devourer of Souls, who also needs clash cards. She's not going to engage them, she's going to sacrifice them, to be perfectly honest. And to grow even bigger in attack at least. So 4 copies of her, only 2 copies of him, both because I didn't open more, and because he's not that important as she is. So to this, I have Death, Stalking Spectre. She herself does not give the ability to sacrifice things. 3 copies of her. However, she benefits off any other ability to send something out. So she grows +1/+1 when something else is sent to oblivion. And then I had a single copy of this girl, Death the Endbringer. For all intents and purposes in this deck, she might as well have been an accessory or a relic or something like that. I'm not intending to attack with her. I'm using her for her abilities, which makes a lot more sense in a bit. So she is just here, just a single copy because I only opened 1. So that is the win condition: being able to have clash cards out, engage them for war, play a death, sacrifice the ones I just engaged to swinging big with breakthrough, and if need be, go with the Stalking Spectre, who just grew a lot bigger from this that comes in with flight. In order to make this work, 2 things need to be in place. One, I need to actually have clash cards to damage things, to sacrifice and to engage, and I need cards in hand. So let's start with the production of clash cards. And why do I say production? Because these guys are the force of cannon fodder. These are the ones I want to create a lot of and sacrifice for my win condition here. So in order to make more minions, there is more than anything else, at least in my opinion, 1 card you need to run, and I run 4 copies of Bardica Warhorn. Why 4? Well, I know it's exclusive, but I really wanted it in my accessory zone. So I'm just gonna move this up a bit so you can see what I'm putting in it. So I run 4 copies, so I always will have 1 available for me. So that one creates me some. Another one that creates me is 2 copies of, let's see if I can get this, of War Battle Tactician. There we go. If the portal is open, and I'll say it now, this deck is super important, super relevant for me to control the port or the portal. This only works. Bardic Warhorn only works when the portal is just right. Anyway, Battle Tactician creates a single 1/1 red war minion token. 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of favorable outcome. So this is a way to deal with the Battle Tactician card. Play a single, deals you damage to it, and it's defeated, and I get a token I can keep. Anyway, 4 copies of that one. So, but Battle Tactician also gives me a clash card because he's a clash card. So far so good. This is the main engine for creating tokens. I need cards in hand, and in order to do that, I'm going to move this over here. Well, cover up the Pokeball a bit. In order for this to work, I'm going to use Death ability. So just a quick update if you don't have it ready. When a Death Clash card you control is defeated or sent to oblivion, very important for this one down here, you may engage this card, and if you do, draw 1 card, and then something gets +1/+1. So that should give me an extra draw every turn, or at least every turn a death card goes out. Now I don't want to lose these. No, I don't want to lose two. I don't want to lose these two, so I need other clash cards, death clash cards, and the first one is 4 copies of Death, Agent of the Dark. The brilliant thing about her, come on, is that the trigger defeat on her is that she returns to my hand if the portal is closed. So early game with the portal is closed, I haven't opened it, I get her back in my hand and extra cards. I can sit a good fistful. And Death, the Dreadful, 3 cost, helps me control the portal, but also I can choose if it's myself or my opponent who needs to take a health damage in order to draw cards. So she will draw me a card when defeated due to Death ability, but I can get an extra. And 4 copies of this one, Death the Relentless, please Sue, thank you. The great thing with this card is that whenever it's defeated, I get to find another in my deck, as it says right here, and makes this cheaper. So I'll draw a card from this defeat effect efficiently, this card, and I'll draw a card from Death, my Contender's ability. Plus these get cheaper and cheaper, and what I've seen is that this is an increasingly cheap way to get cards later in the game where I would run out of steam otherwise. And finally, 4 copies of Casualty of War, which I send a clash card I control. That could be a minion. I send that to Oblivion, I get 2 cards, and then again I get to activate the portal, so a bit of portal control with that. So that's my win condition, that's my minion creation, that's my card draw, and also something I can sacrifice to win conditions and get card draw. All of this is good and well. There's a few more elements to this. What Death Stalking Spectre has and Devour of Soul does not have is flight. Some evasion at least. And in order to get that, I run 4 copies of Bone Armor that can give her flight and necrotic. I can put it on her as well. Put any a death card. It needs to be on a death card. I put it any of them. I need to clear some of the room at my opponent's level or my opponent's clash field in order for this to work. So I run, if I can get this. I run 2 copies of To the Depth. I can't say that. It only works for small cards, quote unquote, up to a defensive power of 3. But at least it gets some of the job done. Now, in my podcast, and if you don't follow that, please go do. It's on this channel as well, so you just follow this channel and you get that as well. New episodes out every Monday. In my podcast, I mentioned with banning off the original 4 Clash buffs, that all the 0 cost Clash buffs meant that now everybody has to have resources ready on their opponent's turn, which weren't a thing before, for Clash buffs at least, which sort of make it, if you've got a trap set and resources open, so means you want to, it probably is a triggered attack. I know you can play mind games and all that with this, but they were more or less useless, sorry. Then out comes Clash Grounds, and there's an errata to them, and now it would unrival their band entirely, which makes traps really, really relevant. And it showed, to me at least, when I built this deck. So let me show you what I mean. I run Clash Buffs. I run 3 copies of Restoration. That just gives it +1. But I also run 3 copies of Piercing Darkness, which is a trap. So the thing here is I use this just as I would use a Clash buff, only a different type of Clash buff. Instead of buffing something of mine, I degrade some of what is coming in from my opponent by giving it -3, -0, which means I don't have to block as much. So instead of buffing something up at my side, I'm going to climb down on my opponent's side, sort of taking the sting out of their attack. So 4 copies of that. 3 copies of that to keep it out, so I can keep the pieces I want to keep for my big swings. All that leaves a bit of room, and because I've opened it, I am running 2 copies of Death Door. That is the small tweaking that will make Death more powerful. If you don't know it, you might be able to read it. But the point is that whenever I lose a Clash card, my opponent loses life. Whenever they lose a Clash card, I gain life. So this is one of the small things that keeps this going until I can get my big guns out and start pushing some real damage. Anyway, this is the deck that I built and the one I'm playing with currently. For my local meta, the size of or the level we're playing at, this is sufficient. But if you notice something, saying goes, well, remove this, put this in. Let me know in the comments, what will you take out and what will you put in instead? Maybe there's something in Unrivaled that I should be looking at. A lot of cool cards coming out on that set. So let me know in the comments. Give this a like and maybe even give it a follow. I'll talk to you later. Bye.